Sidney Poitier broke barriers as the first black actor to win an Oscar, showing the power of presence on screen. Maggie Smith's razor-sharp wit and relentless stage stamina turned the British stage into a global classroom of character. Norm Macdonald rewrote comedy with a deadpan precision that made audiences question the very shape of a joke. Lisa Marie Presley carried a rock-royal legacy, turning personal turmoil into a raw, unapologetic voice on the tour bus. Ray Liotta's intensity on screen, from gritty streets to courtroom drama, gave every role a pulse of relentless realism. Paul Rubens turned a bathroom stall into a cultural icon, proving that humor can thrive in the most unexpected of places. Oprah Winfrey's name is synonymous with a media empire that reshapes conversations across television, publishing, and philanthropy. The moment her daytime talk show landed in Chicago's WLS studios, she turned a modest regional program into a cultural laboratory, testing the limits of empathy, confessional storytelling, and audience participation. That first episode of The Oprah Winfrey Show in 1986 was not a debut of fame. It was a declaration that a black woman could command a national daytime audience with authenticity and commercial savvy, a premise that had been dismissed by network executives just years before. Born into poverty in rural Mississippi, Oprah's early years were marked by hardship that forged a fierce determination. At age 7, she was sent to live with her father, a minister who demanded silence and discipline, only to be returned to her mother's care after a violent episode. The tension of those formative moments taught her to read people's pain, a skill that later became the backbone of her interview style. By 14, she was already speaking on a local radio station, a brief but decisive taste of the platform that would later amplify her voice. Her break came in Nashville, where a teenage Oprah secured a job as a news anchor for a black radio station. The experience taught her the mechanics of news gathering, but also exposed her to the rigid expectations of a newsroom that often silenced the very communities it reported on. When she moved to Baltimore's WJZ-TV as the first black female news anchor, she quickly realized the format left little room for the emotional honesty that defined her. A pivotal moment arrived when a producer asked her to read a script about a woman's abuse. She improvised, allowing her own tears to surface on camera. The raw response from viewers convinced her that the audience craved more than scripted reporting. They wanted connection. In 1984, the then executive producer of a Chicago morning talk show, John Miller, hired Oprah as a co-host, hoping to boost ratings with her magnetic presence. The experiment flopped, but a bold decision by the station's general manager, Jerry Garcia, gave her a second chance. A half-hour segment titled AM Chicago. Within months, Oprah's conversational style, her willingness to discuss personal struggles, and her knack for finding a guest's humanity turned the show into a ratings juggernaut. When the program's audience eclipsed that of established talk show competitors, the network offered her a full-hour slot, and the rest of television history was rewritten. The true power of Oprah's brand lay not just in viewership numbers, but in her ability to turn a television moment into a market force. In 1996, she launched Oprah's Book Club, a segment that could catapult an obscure novel to bestseller status overnight. The phenomenon, later dubbed the Oprah effect, illustrated her unprecedented cultural capital. A single recommendation could reshape publishing economics, influence library acquisitions, and spark nationwide conversations about race, gender, and identity. This leverage extended beyond books. Her partnership with Weight Watchers, her own line of magazines, and her 2010 satellite radio venture each demonstrated a strategic diversification that turned personal influence into a multifaceted business empire. Yet the ascent was not without conflict. In 2002, the controversial The Oprah Winfrey Show episode featuring a guest claiming to be a former slave sparked a backlash that forced Oprah to confront the limits of her platform. Critics argued she had amplified unverified narratives, prompting her to publicly apologize and to tighten her vetting processes. The episode underscored a recurring tension in her career, the balance between giving voice to marginalized stories and maintaining journalistic integrity. Her response, an admission of error and a renewed commitment to rigorous fact-checking, reinforced her credibility, proving that vulnerability could coexist with authority. The launch of OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, in 2011 marked a strategic gamble. Initial ratings faltered, and critics questioned whether a cable network could sustain her brand without the reach of broadcast television. Oprah responded by leveraging her personal capital, investing $100 million of her own money, and curating a slate of original programming that emphasized empowerment, healing, and social justice. Shows like Greenleaf, Queen Sugar, and the docu-series Iyanla, Fix My Life, gradually rebuilt viewership, turning OWN into a niche but influential platform for underrepresented voices. The network's evolution illustrates Oprah's willingness to endure short-term setbacks for long-term cultural impact. Philanthropy further cements her living legacy. In 1998, she established the Oprah Winfrey Leadership Academy for Girls in South Africa, a boarding school that provides education to girls from disadvantaged backgrounds. The institution faced early controversy when staff members were accused of abuse, prompting Oprah to confront the crisis publicly, replace the administration, and personally fund the school's repairs. Her response demonstrated a hands-on approach rarely seen in celebrity philanthropy, where she refused to distance herself from operational challenges. More recently, her 2020 1 Billion Reasons campaign, aimed at combating global hunger, has mobilized a coalition of donors, corporations, and volunteers, reinforcing her role as a catalyst for collective action. Oprah's influence also extends into political discourse. Her 2018 endorsement of Barack Obama's re-election campaign, followed by her 2020 support for Joe Biden, underscored her ability to sway voter sentiment. While she has avoided overt partisanship, her testimony before the U.S. Senate in 2019 on the importance of early childhood education highlighted how she leverages her platform to shape policy conversations. In each instance, she frames advocacy as an extension of her storytelling ethos, using narrative to illuminate systemic issues. In the digital age, Oprah has adeptly migrated to new media. Her 2020 podcast, Super Soul Conversations, translates her interview style into an intimate audio format, reaching younger audiences who consume content on the go. Simultaneously, her partnership with Apple TV+ has produced high-profile series such as The Oprah Winfrey Interview with Prince Harry, which combined personal revelation with broader discussions about mental health and institutional change. These ventures illustrate a seamless adaptation. The core of her work, deep listening, empathetic dialogue, and cultural relevance remains unchanged, even as the delivery mechanisms evolve. Oprah's current projects continue to reflect a living, dynamic career. She serves as a board member for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences, influencing industry standards for diversity. Her recent involvement in the Climate Reality Project positions her as a vocal advocate for environmental stewardship, linking personal responsibility with global policy. Moreover, her upcoming memoir, slated for release next year, promises to offer fresh reflections on the responsibilities of fame and the future of media, hinting that even as she chronicles her past, she is still shaping the narrative of tomorrow. The arc of Oprah Winfrey's story is not a static monument. It is a constantly evolving dialogue between a media pioneer and the world she helps to define. From a modest studio in Chicago to a global platform that moves markets, legislates change, and nurtures future leaders, her career demonstrates how authenticity, strategic risk-taking, and an unrelenting commitment to human connection can rewrite the rules of influence. As she continues to host, produce, and mentor, Oprah remains a living testament to the power of a voice that refuses to be silenced. A voice that invites the world to listen, reflect, and act.